Simulated racing can be awesome, but it can also be kind of a free-for-all. Interestingly, auto racing faced the same problem in its earlier days. Whether it was on the back roads, the beaches, or the city streets, the racing was fun. But there was always a certain level of chaos and danger, until some folks came along and put some order to all of this. Stuff like official racetracks, regulations about weight and equipment, and enforcement of standards. That's what gave us high-speed excitement, fast-paced action, and photo finishes. That's when racing became racing. The guys over at iRacing.com have made the same transformation in the world of sim racing. Sure, they've got the most accurate tracks and realistic cars out there, but that's just the start. See, iRacing analyzes the performance and results of each driver in every race, so you can be sure you're always placed in races where the competition will be tight, and that those reckless drivers who ruin it for us all are kept in the pits. Not to mention that with over 45,000 active members already in their vast community, you can find races day and night, so you can always get in on the action. You can even join a league of your favorite series. And since updates are always automatic, you don't have to worry about software and can focus on the track. Zip up your fire suit and check out iRacing.com.
Truex in the outside, contact made. 56 slides it into 4. Who's going to be into stripe? Dead even, give it to Ryan Truex. Truex is your winner over Tandy.
Virginia International Raceway. It's the place for our Skip Barber World Cup 2K race. We are going to be here at VIR's North Course for this 50-minute race, 10 minutes of qualifying, 2 laps, of course, as we are now getting ready as qualifying has just gotten underway. Hello, everybody. I'm Cameron Walsh with Jacob Young and Hugo Louis on the cameras. Will Vincent has the week off. Good for him. But unfortunately for us, we are going to be watching this great race. Fortunately for us, I think I said unfortunately. Fortunately for us, good Skip Barber action here on a very tight course that's not really that well known. Felipe Labert on board with him as he qualifies out of the North Course. Basically take the front stretch, go all the way up to the end of that first sector, take a right, go up through the North Hill, and down back onto the roller coaster before you head that back stretch at the roller coaster and complete the lap. Now, Felipe Labert right now, as the people are going to be getting their qualifying times lap in very soon. We have about 18, 19 cars that we're practicing today, so we'll have to see who comes away with it. Fastest, though, in practice was Miko Nasi and Mayor Radi, with Felipe Labert in third as far as practice times go. Let's see if they can repeat them here. But Jacob, this track with the Skip Barber doesn't seem like there's a lot of opportunity to pass for sure.
Well, you think of it that way, but at the same time, to me there's a lot of straightaways, and sure, it would be hard to pass, but the best possible place to pass would be right before you get to the start-finish line. There's this long straightaway, and then you take a little turn, and then there it is to the start-finish.
Yes, and that course, that long straight, is going to be the tempting one, turn 1. kind of a bear as far as any car goes. It's not real fun in any car, let alone these Skip Barbers, definitely designed from the ground up to test every single piece of your driving ability. But we'll have to see how these World Cup guys take it as just these cars are trying to get around right now with their qualifying times. This is a timed qualifying, but this is also 2 laps of qualifying. So that's just what we're going to be doing right now, is we're just waiting for these times to come in. Still on Felipe Lebert as he's trying to get around. There we go. Now we're starting to get some times in, but of course the first lap not always indicative, as Matthew Daniels is the first to break into the 137s as Felipe Lebert is going to be coming across that line. Long straight, of course, and these Skip Barbers hitting upwards about 100 and maybe 23 miles an hour. Yes, 123. So we will go look at Nico Nasi as he just broke into the 137 low fives, as that is, of course, if you can hear, that is Zoe, the commentary dog in the background, being annoying. We'll have to shush her up fairly soon here. But Nico Nasi swinging that car around. That is a very Easter-y colored Skip Barber car. But so Miko Nasi on the point, Felipe Lebart right now in second, Matthew Daniels in third, which is almost how they went in practice. The only person who had somewhat of a slow lap was Meir Reddy. He's gone from second down to fourth. But one more lap for these guys, Miko Nasi. As he enters this section, you're going to peel off to the right before those main S's that we're familiar with here at VIR. And you drag way out to the left here. A lot of running areas here, and a lot of steep S's. Going to be single file pretty much through here, and this is where it gets interesting, because I'm up here, right up here, and right into the roller coaster without any real stoppages there, as they just come on through the roller coaster, down, dip to the right, dip to the left, dip to another right. Now this part typically loads the suspension. You can get a lot of cars that spin out there. I haven't seen any of these Skip Barber cars run out here, but we'll have to see as Nico Nasi will go through one final time. We'll see if he keeps his good qualifying time. He does. He improves it by almost 0.4 of a second, a 137 flat. That's faster than he did in practice. Absolutely on rails. That Miko Nasi car is, yes, okay, that's what I thought. Not an Eastery car, but a very black and red-tipped car, that Miko Nasi vehicle. But everyone getting through right now. And then we can get to the important part. A couple of cars left on track. Alexandria Ostrach, he's up in 6th position qualifying right now. He's about to enter the uphill section. But ultimately, this unfamiliar section to us normal people, normal drivers, this north section, not really used per se. And so you just get to see it from another racetrack like VIR from a different perspective. Now, as we've gone through, this is going to be a little bit of a difficult track going through tail to tail to tail to tail. Man, these Skip Barber cars, even all the more dangerous, but ultimately these qualifying times, absolutely fantastic. Now, these qualifying times, Jacob, really shouldn't be that different from the race pace, I believe, because normally people just use their normal race setups in the qualifyings.
Yeah, for sure. Just one thing to watch out for is, are people too hectic at the beginning? Are people gonna, pile up? Or is it just gonna be a safe through and everybody just run their lap time? That's one thing to look out for, is it gonna be peaceful or is it gonna be rough?
Yeah, and it depends especially on who wants to start the trouble going up in that second section, we'll call it, that second uphill area. It's just, boy, is it going to be interesting as we look to get underway here. There's 3 minutes left here in the qualifying session. Most people now off a track as Alexandria Elshich is still driving around in that number 61 car. He's going to take on this uphill section one more time. It's still just such an abrupt uphill. I almost wonder if it tapers off and lowers down. I almost wonder if we're going to have a rear end kick out there or something to that effect as he'll come through. As it's just a different track for sure, as Miko Nasi has come away in first place for sure. Who else is left on track here? Neil Kemp is on track, Hisashi Kadari is on track, Mike McCormick is on track, and then Alexandre Elstrach. So, people when they get done, they're pulling into the pits there, but it's just going to be an interesting race for sure as we are going through. I almost wonder, we're going to have, as you've said, Jacob, a couple of front wings are going to be ripped off here into turn 1, I'm sure. But it all depends on how patient these people are. This is a 15-minute race. There are going to be pit stops for sure, as people will come in, get their gas, get their tires. But ultimately, it's going to be very interesting as we're hitting about 1 minute 40, well, about minute 137, 24 laps. It should be about 50 minutes or so. So that should be good. But right now, as everyone looks to be finishing up for sure, as Alexandre Elstrach is in the pits, Hadam Kadari is just finishing their lap, and Neil Kemp is just also finishing his lap. So after these guys clear, we'll set it up and we'll get the qualifying results page for you here in the Skip Barber 2K World Cup, the round 5 at VIR. But right now we're going to get reset. There's going to be 1 minute left, so everyone seems to be done with their qualifying now. And Neil Kemp is still going around, but he's put in only 1 lap time. Actually, Neil Kemp has 1 more lap to go, qualified in 17th with a 139.3. But he will, after this, there will not be enough time really to go through the results. So while he drives around, we'll give you your results page right now here at VIR for the qualifying. So right now, Miko Nasi is on point with a 137 flat. That is 0.5 of a second faster than everybody else in the field. Felipe Labor coming home in second in the qualifying was with a 137.5. 0.2 of a second behind him is Matthew Daniels. Mayor Reddy qualifying on the outside of that row, 137.8. Frank Winter barely a 0.1 of a second behind with a 137.86. Alexandre Elstrach coming in 6th. Brian Duell 7th. Aurelian Bonnet is going to be in 8th. 9th is going to be Paul Malakis and Johan Hallberg, as David Stefani's coming in 11th. In 12th position, it's going to be Karthik Pai with Scott Boham with him, as well as Dustin Kissinger and Rob Adams going to be in the row behind them. Mike McCormick and Neil Kemp taking the next row in 16th and 17th position, with Robert Long and Edward Cavalier behind them. Stein Schwartz is going to be in 20th with Hikam Kadari in 21st and Joey Miller in 22nd. Those 3 cars, both Stein, Hickam, and Joey, not qualifying here today. So as we get that underway, we are ready to go here. No pace car in front says we are going to be off and away here at Skip Barber 2K. Everyone pulling away very nicely so far, but we are going to look and see if that turn 1 incident does happen. Miko Nasi pulling out a gap for sure as everyone goes 2 by 2 by 2. Nobody wants to take it 3 wide just so far as they go into turn 1, but no, there are 1 3 wide action here as Johan Hallberg, that blue car, splitting the 2 cars, one to his left, one to his right, and ended up coming away with a much higher position as David Stefani had lost out there for sure behind, but everyone getting away cleanly as we're all coming through. Is going through the field. No incidents yet as David Stefani and Johan Hallberg are still fighting as there's 2 wide action in front of Mirili Abanid and Paul Molkas. Now these guys are about the middle of the pack there. Now you're in single file. This is single file territory here. Cannot go single or 2 wide, hopefully not, or else there's going to be a massive issue as Miko Nasi pulling quite a bit of a gap here, especially in these Skip Barber cars, and on the first lap especially, already pulling that gap over Felipe Labert. These guys are pulling away, making their way back onto the back part of the VIR road course as here they go down the roller coaster, this stunt left to that right. There's a couple of cars maybe flirting with the idea of going 2 wide through the roller coaster and the exit of it, but they just think better of it, and they want to complete that first lap all on their own. No takers as far as drama so far, but the day is still young, and after one lap, Jacob, everybody's gotten away nice and cleanly. A couple of big movers through that start, like that 3-wide jump by Johan. But ultimately, everyone getting away nice and cleanly, setting up for a good race.
Yes, that's what you, to me, that's what you call mature drivers and smart drivers, really. You just come through with no crashes and just, yeah, as we look at position 8, and yeah, just very, very exciting start, very calm.
Yeah, and Aurelian Bonnet, and of course, in that TNT Skip Barber car, Paul Malakas. Both of these guys going too wide through every single corner. They literally have been too wide this entire time. And of course, Johan Hallberg might be the focus of the race so far, as he's already gone 3 wide, and he's now snuck up right behind these other guys going too wide. He might make it interesting, Johan Hallberg, going on the entry to the uphill section, but they'll go single file through and through. But right now, I almost have to wonder, I don't know if Paul Malakas is faster than Aurelian Bonnet, but they have left an immense gap between the rear end of Brian Doell and Aurelian Bonnet. I'm not quite sure. I don't imagine anything's happened to have caused that gap, but just these two individual packs now, they can't even see each other going through the roller coaster. But Aurelian Bonnet in that 9th position, or actually, well, he's in 8th right now, but they're fighting in that 8th, 9th, and 10th position already, pulling out a massive gap. Johan Hallberg is trying to see if he can't maybe sneak around on the exit of this, but Aurelian Bonnet and Paul Malakas are coming in through here, and this is the drafty bit. This is the a DRS range, as Dick Dolan, who's also spectating here, hello to you, Dick, is has stated, but Aurelian Bonnet, though, able to keep the inside line into the horseshoe, into turn number 1, which is the place you really want to be. This is a turn 1 that's very deceptive. It tapers off and then tightens up. So Aurelian Bonnet able to defend that position from Paul Malakas, but now they're starting to build up quite a few cars behind them, Jacob. There's, I think, 5 or 6 cars that are behind them. I'm not quite sure if they're faster, but it's only a matter of time before somebody decides that they're faster.
Yeah, when you put up the defensive line in front, it's gonna, what you would say, it's gonna get the cars to pile up behind, and it's gonna make for an excitement. But as you can see here on the straightaway, he pulled, excuse me with my mic, but it pulled, they just
pulled Paul right up to him.
Anymore.
Yeah,
I lost it.
Yeah, that's all right. That's all right. Paul Malakas went to the outside there of Aurelian Bonnet, but with that defensive line, he was able to keep the position. But we'll have to look away from these and try and see if we can't find Miko Nasi, because if you're looking at where any of the other competition is, you're not going to be able to find him. Miko Nasi has already pulled quite a gap. They're already he's already out of the draft range that these Skip Barber cars are so known for, where you could make an entire pass simply on draft. But 120 miles an hour as he enters, 123 actually, as he enters turn number 1, as he is just pulling away. Miko Nasi pounding out lap after lap, 2/10 off his qualifying time already, which was his practice time. But Miko Nasi over Felipe Leibert and Matthew Daniels. Mayu Reddy is in 4th, and Frank Winter in 5th. In 6th is Alexandri Ostjesk, and Brian Doell is also behind him. That's kind of that front pack, these front 7 cars. There's just a massive gap, almost 2 turns, between the rear end of Brian Doell and Aurelian Bonnet, who is still trying to be defensive against Paul Malakas. Now, Paul has been unable so far to get past this TNT racing car after losing that position earlier on. But it's now getting to the point where there's, let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cars directly behind them, leading off at the end of Dustin Kissinger. So there's kind of these 3 packs forming right now, with the final cars on the track being Hikam Kadari, who's holding in the back, and Joey Miller, who's managed to lose his nose cone. And actually most of his front bodywork, you can actually see his legs there, Joey Miller in that number 50 car, so he'll be holding out until pit time starts coming by. But right now you can see his feet just kind of working. Those are kind of a frightening view, really. but hopefully no cars around him, so he'll be able to just continue and wait until they get to the pit so they can affix a new front wing to that. Speaking of front wing damage, though, Mikko Nasi, now that I'm looking at his car, has a little bit of front end damage on that left wing, possibly taking one of these curbs, Jacob, just a little too aggressive.
Yeah, looking at his car right now, yeah, those curbs, well, first off, these Skip Barber cars, they're pretty low to the ground, just like any other Indy car or whatever
Car, yeah.
would be like. And yeah, and then those curbs are huge for it, and if you hit it at a certain angle, something's bound to pop off.
Yeah, so a little bit of front end damage on that number 25 car, but it shouldn't really impact him that much. I think he might even have some side pod damage. But if there's anything I've learned about open wheel formula cars, it's that people that do this to their own cars are typically doing it because of how fast they're going. But Felipe Labert, though, still trying to keep right up, but just not going to be able to do it lap after lap here. The last lap from Mikko Nasi was a 1:37.2, and Felipe Labert was 0.2 of a second off just like that. You only have to go 4 cars past that to get in the 1:38, which Aurelian Bonnet is actually running 1:38.3, so almost a complete second off of your race leaders is this second pack. And Paul Malakis and Johan Hallberg are all looking to see if they can't figure out maybe how they can get past Aurelian Bonnet, or maybe they can push him forward. As then you've got this third group currently pointed, starting in 15th position, pointed by Mike McCormick in that number 65 car. He's sitting in kind of that back third pack, that first car. He's running 1:38.7, so overall it's similar lap times, as we do have 2 wide action. Car number 147, Edward Cavalier, has Neil Kempf on his inside. This is way back in the pack, almost 18th, 17th position this draft. It allowed him to go to the inside, and actually it looks like Edward Cavalier might lose 2 positions as Robert Long has the inside line. He will end up completing that pass. So these 3 guys, maybe their lap time's not as good as everyone else, but they are still putting on a show of their own. Jacob.
Well, yeah. I mean, 3-car battles are always fun to watch when you see cars, you know, catching up. And now that it's up to position 8, but yeah, those 3 cars are fantastic to watch. Just really fun action.
Yeah, these Skip Barber cars, it seems everybody's peeling off this left front wings here. They are getting this damage. I think it's almost that curb that they went over right now, that concrete entryway, but Paul Malakis was able to pick up a position. So over the Aurelian Bonnet car, and Johan Hallberg is still not sitting there. David Stefani has gone a little off-roading there in the back picture. Not quite sure if you could see it, but David Stefani, though, clipping the inside of that corner and putting 2 wheels on the grass, though. He gathers it right back up, though it leaves a little bit of a gap to Hallberg. But right now we'll have to see Paul Malakis. Okay, you pushed a car ahead of you into a mistake. Now you've gotten by him. Let's see what you can do. This is, catches a lot of drivers out, actually. You can ride in the wheel tracks, you can ride a line, and ultimately see if Aurelian might be able to catch up. Under drafting, Paul Malakis already taking the super defensive line, going way over to the left, but Aurelian, maybe he might try to outbrake, but as I said, this turn does creep up on you, and it does wind up. No, Aurelian Bonnet getting way out of it, but it'll actually work to get back on the throttle, but ultimately not going to be able to get that pass complete this time. I think, as I said before, this turn 1, it's going to be a very deceptive turn unless you can get your wheel or your nose on the inside, as Paul Malakis has a huge issue, and he throws his own car off into the tire barrier, and he will have to dig that thing out. Sticks itself, as we get a replay right now, sticks itself into the tire barrier, but it just looks like that pressure from Aurelian Bonnet, as Paul Malakis was actually just taking a normal entry. The rear end started to lose traction, and Jacob, he flicked the front wheels to try and save it, and just then it all caught traction. It all went terribly wrong.
Yeah, sometimes when you can overcorrect, and that seems like what he just did. It seemed to me like he could save it for just a slight, tiny chance for him to save it, though. But yeah, that was, to me, it looked like wrong person.
Yeah, there was a Paul there.
Could have had it or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So Paul ended up making that mistake there. Actually, now he's completely lost the front wing sitting in that pit lane. Now they'll have to bring that car out. He'll bring it around. They'll see if they can't get that car patched up. I'm sure he'll get back on track, but right now we're going to focus on Frank Winter, who is currently under attack by the person who's absolutely plaguing my name-calling abilities, Alexandra Ostjashk, whom I hopefully, maybe you can tell me how to pronounce that name after the race so I can feel like an idiot. But Alexandria, though, looking to go on the outside under the braking. As they do go under braking, he'll turn in. Now, oh, there's actually a car in front of them. It's Mayor Reddy. I figured that this, I didn't even see Mayor Reddy. But right now, Frank Winter, as this is another three-car battle, as Winter, they're taking it easy, Mayor Reddy, that car sliding out on him. He'll actually track out a little bit, as it's all of these cars are now starting to lose a little bit of their traction, possibly starting to lose a little bit of these tires. Is 8 laps into this race. Pit stop shouldn't be that far off. I'll actually have to double check with the more experty people here, but I'm sure pit stops aren't too far away, as we are 11 minutes into this race. Mayor Reddy, Frank Winter, and Alexandria, as Alexandria pets are around lap 18. Thank you, Hugo. Alexandria actually tried to go way outside of Frank Winter there, trying to make it interesting. I guess when you start wanting to pass and you can't do it in turn 1, you got to start getting a little creative there. Ultimately, though, not happening there. But right now, the car still up front is Miko Nasi. He's pulled a 2.6 second gap over Felipe Leibert. So Leibert and Daniels, those two cars, and then there's a rather large gap back to Mayor Reddy, Frank Winter, Alexander Elstrich, and Brian Duell. Brian Duell has been able to catch up really onto the rear end of these three cars that have been fighting lap after lap. And then you get to Johan Hallberg. Hallberg has rather ended up on his own, actually, okay, so Johan Hallberg is by himself. I now have to wonder, where did Aurelien Bonnet go? Okay, well, have to look into that right there. Apparently, he's must have had an issue somewhere along the track, as he's been by himself. Ah, okay. This happened quite a while ago, so no real sense for bringing the replay into the action here, but Aurelien Bonnet basically pooched the last corner, went way off grass. That really wide, long the pig hen, I think it's called. Okay, he did find it, as our cameraman did find it there. Good for Hugo there, actually, as Aurelien Bonnet, he just took that last corner, brought a little too much speed into it, went off track, and that allowed all of these other cars to get past him, as he had to wait forever to get back on the track. But just a little mistake there, and thankfully, unlike most of VIR, that last corner, Jacob, is a little forgiving when you go off track like that.
Yeah, the last corner for sure is forgiving, just as long as you're able to get back onto the track in time and not lose too much ground. But still, these turns can bite, even when they are forgiving.
Yeah, that last turn, I'd have to say, is probably the most forgiving as far as the entirety of VIR. As a lot of it else, you clip the grass, you start spinning out. As we're now looking at the position 10 battle, Scott Boham and that monster Skip Barber car with Karthik Pai on the outside. And that is Dustin Kissinger looking ready in the wings as they all chase down David Stefani, who is now on the tip of the second point, the second battle, excuse me. But David Stefani, though, with Scott Boham, they all come into single file. I think it's this turn right here. This NASCAR bend, turn number 3. This is the one that's going to be creating a lot of anxiety for these drivers. We've already had one car rip himself off. That was Paul Malakis. Now, I think your car behind you starts really trying to push into you, and it's just ultimately starts making maybe the person ahead panic a little bit. And we've seen with Paul and perhaps a couple of other people who have overdriven into that NASCAR bend corner that it's not necessarily what you want to do. But right now, Scott Boham absolutely catching right up to David Stefani, as Stefani looking to protect what territory is his. But Scott Boham, who had started in 13th position, now is up to 10th. As we close out the first 15 minutes of this 50-minute race, 24-lap race. So we've got 14 laps to go, in a sense. I guess this is more of a lap race than a timed race. race, but so 24 laps to go, or 24 laps to go. Oh, hey, the race just started. No, Miko Nasi in the lead after 10 laps of 24. Don't worry, we got this here on RaceSpotTV from Virginia International Raceway. As we do have cars pouring into the pits. Hugo, you lied, you were wrong. As cars pour into the pits, Scott Boham, Karthik Pai, and Aurelian Bonnet all deciding that, you know what, right now it's just best to get our tires, get our fuel, and get onward as these three cars all pulling in. As Scott Boham had a good entry, Karthik Pai did not. Actually had to pull up a little bit into their pit stalls, so as they all start getting their fuel, nobody takes tires. Scott Boham did not take tires, I don't believe. No, he did not. He just took fuel. As Aurelian Bonnet and Karthik Pai are all on the way, leaving just as they entered, but Scott Boham ended up taking a massive gap there. I think that mistake entering his pit there, as I'm not sure anybody took tires. So it just looks like right now, yeah, nobody took tires, which is sort of interesting. I would imagine tires are a normal part of the pit job process here, Jacob, but it looks like nobody wanted to take tires in this first pit stop.
Well, I hate to break it to you, Cameron, but in this league, you don't really, and with these cars, you don't really need tires. I was listening before the race. One of the people said, one of the racers said, oh, I think it was Paul, to be exact. He said that you don't need tires, you just need fuel, and it is kind of shocking, but at the same time, I agree, because as long as you're not slipping and sliding like Formula One is or any other race at the end, then you should be fine with one pair of tires.
Yeah, so I guess I see that, but I know that the road tires can last way longer. I'm just saying, I remember at Suzuka, people were swapping out their tires there, Hugo. See, the thing is, that Hugo guy in the cameras, he writes down some things there, but I'm on to him. But yes, Jacob, I see completely as Mayor Reddy is having the time of his life trying to protect against Frank Winter and Alexandre Ostrich. But no, Jacob, I guess you're right there. These tires just lasting out, and even if they get a little slippery at the end, I guess that's just the decision. But this pressure right now on Mayer is absolutely, it's only a matter of time, I think, at this point before Reddy starts making a mistake or two. But he already has, actually, so even more mistakes. But that car is starting to wiggle right out on him as he just gathers it up and chucks it into the next corner there, as Mayer's car is constantly going at least 2 wheels off. I'm not quite sure if you can hold out for this for another 12 laps. I mean, you're halfway through the race, and when you have a car behind you that's, I don't want to say faster than you, but is at least pressuring you this much, as actually Frank Winter having a big issue himself, that car getting completely loaded out on suspension in both the up and down before that, on that hog pen corner, which allows Mayer time to just kind of breathe and exhale. Okay, here, I'm alive. I'm another lap alive. His lap was 0.5 of a second slower than Frank Winter's lap and Alexandre Ostrich's lap, but right now, as they're all able to catch right back up under drafting, as actually sticks a wheel down there. Frank Winter sticks the nose right on him, but Mayer Reddy, though, not at least folding in yet. Now we go into the NASCAR bend corner here at VIR. The rear end kicking out on him, gathers it back up under wheels, but he still dumps 2 wheels off. And Jacob, this car just seems to be an absolute handful right now.
Yes, we see the other 2 cars trying to, they're pressuring him, and he's showing it too. He's trying to make everything perfect, every corner perfect as possible, and he almost lost it there. And it's getting good back here, that's for sure.
It absolutely is, as it is right now, just as these guys go through this whole uphill section. This is like turn 7 up here, and going down through turn 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, like 8 million little tiny turns here, as we have to, as Will says, the American way of turn namings and turn numberings, as we do have a couple of A's and B's here. But of course this is VIR. You've got 9 million turns. So this is a 17.A turn track, as the final turn is 17A. But Mayer Reddy, though, managing to get through that uphill section, the downhill part of that uphill section, relatively unscathed. Got himself a thing as car number 2, as Labert is actually in pit lane. Everyone flying right by him there as he heads down in, gets a good pit stop, gets on the brakes, doesn't have to squeech his brakes or anything like that or make any corrections. Now, of course, Felipe Labert not taking tires himself, getting nothing but fuel for VIR, perhaps due to just how the car is or how the turn goes, or perhaps maybe the lighter fuel load, not wearing these tires down as much as they need to. But this is a little bit of a slow pit, obviously, filling right to the brim as another 10 laps, 7 seconds slower off of what's normal for a pit stop here. So very dangerous there where he's going to be coming out when everybody cycles through the pits, but as everyone does have to take a pit stop. But Felipe Labert, though, just putting on a little bit of fuel there, not quite sure what was really the holdup there, but perhaps we'll have to see what happens going forward as Miko Nasi is still out in front, and now he is on an island by himself with Felipe Labert. Now, he could probably pit very comfortably. I don't imagine he'd come out in much traffic. Well, let's see. The outlap is probably about 45 seconds with these cars. I'm sure Hugo will correct me with the real numbers, but so that'll dump him just about to the tail end of the field if he does pit this time by, which looks like he does. It's so yeah, it's about 1:45 in lap. Here he comes in, so it's about as another car comes into pit lane, I believe that is Matthew Daniels. Yes, Matthew Daniels, Mayor ready, and is also coming in. Let's see who else is coming in, as Frank Winter is coming in. So now you've got your front runners down pit road: Frank Winter, Mayor ready, Matthew Daniels, Miko Nasi, and the pace car who's still on pit lane, which is very good. Miko Nasi, though, very quick quick stop as he absolutely pulls away, very quick, unlike Felipe, as he gets back on the road. There will be Paul Malokis behind him and Dustin Kissinger slightly behind as he now comes out in traffic just about where I thought it was going to be. It actually came out about a minute away from where he normally was, so about a minute on pit road on the ins and the outs, and now he'll have to get back up to speed. So Miko Nasi still on the point as Alexandre Elstrich, Brian Duell, and Matthew Daniels will, or actually Alexandre and Brian Duell are the only ones who have not pitted so far, so Alexandre is your race leader to be sent, as it's a 2-minute and 2 out lap. Okay, thank you, Hugo. So right now, Alexandre Elstrich, he is now on the point, but he will have to come into the pits with Brian Duell is absolutely hounding the rear end of that car as they'll start coming in down through the final section, this final downhill section here. Quick left, quick right before you get to that final hog pen corner as you start going around. This is 16 going in through 17, exiting through 17A, and let's see here if Alexandre Elstrich comes into pit road. Yes, he does, and Brian Duell right behind. And Brian actually absolutely catches right up before the line. Alexandria there had an absolutely awful entrance into pit road, did not get on the brakes as Brian Duell goes right across him there, and he will pull into his pits. Both of them do, Brian Duell. And Jacob, that's one thing you always got to be prepared to attack, even when you're entering pit road.
Yes, for sure. I know the braking, you can go as fast as you want before, but as long as you get to pit road speed, you can get there. And one of the guys was just faster than the other, and it's as simple as that. I mean, when you're racing side by side on a track or racing behind one, you want to pass them and get out of pit lane before they do. Oh, and we got ourselves a little spin.
Let's see, that we do. That's Alexandre Elstrich, who had just left pit road. Perhaps maybe not prepared for the speed off the tires, but he didn't really even go off track. He just kind of looped it around back on track, but that'll definitely lose him the gap to Brian. But Brian Duell, after that pit stop, pulling out ahead of Felipe Labert, who was in second place, but now Felipe, who's having massive issue. There's a massive wiggle from Felipe Labert's car in a very bad part of the track. That's going through like the left hook areas through, that's turn 4, 5, and 5A. As that was quite a wild ride as he had to wheel that car and wheel it back onto the surface before entering back onto turn number 6A. But actually, know what? That's turn 7. That is turn 7. Okay. It helps when you can understand and read track maps, I hear. But Brian Dwell is now on your point. Well, actually, he was on your point right now. But Miko Nasi, after coming through this pit road right now, he is going to be coming out in first. But let's see what kind of a gap he has. It is going to be Miko Nasi coming off through the line just about now. His lap was, first out lap was a 155. Now it's a 137, so he actually probably gained tons of time on Felipe Labor at 7 seconds off. Okay. So, yeah, 8.4 actually even. 8.4 at the line. Miko Nasi is once again putting on a show, as of course he won at Sebring, and he's not the championship leader actually, but he is in third, and this is going to be a great points haul. And Felipe Labor, who is the championship points leader, had after that awful pit stop, and now he's got a 16-second gap and slower traffic ahead of him. He has Frank Winter ahead of him, but Felipe Labor, actually, did he lose that position? Yes, he even lost that position. So Felipe Labor, something is going amiss on that car. He has lost a position to a car which, if you looked at the previous lap times before the pit stops, would have had no business catching up with him. But Frank Winter taking advantage of that pit stop issue, and Felipe Labor is rolling around in that Skip Barber car. That car possibly getting away from him, but Jacob, he's just got to gather it back up, Felipe does, and dig down. He's got another 6 or 7 laps to go, and he should, if he can just get it back down, hopefully come away with a better result than 5th, because 5th is definitely not where his pace is.
No, not at all. But I do remember, just gonna bring it back, but I do remember this guy, Sebastian Job. He was in the eliminator round, and he had gotten crashed and got lucky with a caution, and then from there he ended up almost winning that whole eliminator round. So yeah, it's just, it all goes back to whether you are a mature driver and you can just focus. If you spin out, it's okay, as long, or get loose and lose a lot of time, as long as you can get back and almost pass like Felipe can do in like the next lap or so. As we head to position 2.
Yes, Matthew Daniels and Mayor Reddy, of course. These guys, Reddy, no stranger to having an issue there, as he actually just no pressuring from behind. He actually made that pass on the inside to 1. I still don't get why some people leave the door open going on the inside. He actually made a great over-braking maneuver there, as he now has that car right behind him. I almost wonder if we can get a replay of that entry into turn 1 from Mayor Reddy. That was simply a lovely little pass there, as they all started braking one in line, and Mayor Reddy under braking skidded that car to the inside, as we do have the replay, and ended up with that car parked right in front of the nose of that Matthew Daniels Skip Barber car. Was able to move it over to the inside of NASCAR Benz, and he was able to keep that position. So a great pass from Mayor Reddy, but he's got to be ready to defend his territory, which it looks like he's doing very well, as Mayor Reddy should have a gap to do it, as they will, as I can see the green fence appearing. So we are completing another lap here at Virginia International Raceway, lap number 18 filling into 19. So we've got 5 laps to go here in the Skip Barber 2K World Cup round. This is round number 5 of their second season, and of course it's here on RaceSpotTV. Once again, I'm Cam Walsh, he's Jacob Young, and that's Hugo Louis on the cameras. So it was we have a 10-second gap between Miko Nasi. We can almost completely ignore him, as we've got so many other battles going around. Frank Winter and Felipe Labor, just as Jacob said, he's got to just calm it down, get right back into it, and he's actually going onto the outside of the first turn here. That's a very rare pass, as it looks like he will get it done, and Felipe Labor, the championship leader, will have made that position, now getting into position number 5, and let's see if Felipe Labor is going to be able to keep that position over Frank Winter. Frank Winter looking to counter, but it's just not going to be in the cards. That turn 1, it was a bore fest in the beginning of the race, because everyone just went single file, but now we've had 2 great passes right through. If we can get that on replay as well, Felipe Labert just going on the outside of turn number 1. That is through the entire horseshoe. They were 2 wide, side by side, and then Felipe gave each other enough room, which is very appreciated, especially in the World Cup Skip Barber 2K series. These guys are very, very sensible in what they're doing. I don't even think we've really had any car contact at all whatsoever throughout the entire race, and that just goes to show the quality of these drivers here. No matter the pace, the quality and pace don't go hand in hand, and the quality of these drivers absolutely amazing, and the quality and the speed of the guys up front is absolutely it's admirable. I mean, Miko Nasi has pulled a 10-second gap in the Skip Barber. You don't see that every day, especially in a league. But Mayor Reddy, though, in that second position with Matthew Daniels, as Felipe Labert has cleared that position from Frank Winters. So you've got these 2-car battles now instead of the 3 cars that we had earlier on. Just going to take a quick little look through the field myself here to make sure everybody's doing A-okay, and yes, they are. Not quite sure if anyone has to go through lap traffic just yet. I believe Miko has gone through some lap traffic, like Paul Malakas, who did have that incident earlier. But right now, Miko Nasi pulling an 11-second gap. This is obviously he likes it here at Virginia.
Yeah, he seems like he loves it, especially this North Circuit here. Yeah, he's pulling away. It seems like he decided, let me just get on my computer every night and try to improve my lap time day after day after day, night after night after night, I bet, and it has worked. I mean, that's going to be a big points run. He might be, I don't know how many points first and second get, but for sure he might be able to pull Ricardo out of second. Ricardo Faria, if I'm not mistaken, how to say his name. But yeah.
Yep. Ricardo Faria, who isn't here, that's to say, but I'm sure they do have drop weeks, so wouldn't ruin the championship by having a no-show. But Miko Nasi looking to have a great points haul, especially with Felipe Labert, who is now stuck in 5th position due to a crummy pit stop. But Hikam Kardiri is in the pits right now. He's way back, but okay. All right, so Hugo has it up for it once again. So points for each position, it's for first place it's 50 points, which is quite the points haul. Actually, I'm pretty sure I saw some 2-car action. Yes, I did. I was correct. Felipe Labert still fighting Frank Winter for that 5th position. Frank Winter, he says, no, I had this position up here. You had the bad pit stop. Doesn't mean as we have a car off, too. They go past, I believe that's Brian Doel. Yes, it is. But Felipe Labert is for now 4th position, so this has now turned into a battle for 4th position, and actually Brian Doel's car is rather undamaged, so this could be a 3-horse race relatively soon. But Felipe Labert, though, not able to pull away like he was earlier. His lap times have slowed up slightly, and Frank Winters has gone up to where these guys are running the same pace. Now Felipe, the championship leader in Season 2, is now stuck back here in 4th position, as his competitor, the guy who is in 3rd in the standings, is now looking to get a big points haul over him. As his first place will be 50 points, second place 45, and third place 42 points. So, and in 4th place, it's 39 points. So there's almost an 11-point difference, really. That'll do some massive damage if these guys keep racing like this. Felipe, though, looking to try and maybe pull away. Hopefully the pressure from Brian Doel onto the back of Frank Winters' Skip Barber car will have something to do with it, as Alexandria Oshkasian there in the back, whose name I still can't pronounce, hasn't gotten any better on that. I do apologize, as everyone apologizes that we have to listen to me pronounce the name sometimes. But these guys just absolutely pushing around as we still have battles up there. We'll go up to position number 2. Mayor Radi still fighting off Matthew Daniels, and I believe probably every time they go into turn 1, they have this same battle. But so right up front, everybody's closed up. and now there's massive battles. There's actually battles in the back of the pack too. Position number 9, Aurelian Bonnet with Scott Boham and Karthik Pai there after these pit stops. Aurelian Bonnet looking to maybe get back up into position number 8. He was fighting at one point for a much higher position, but having an issue early on there. Aurelian now recovering. He's now with getting pursued by Scott Boham and Karthik Pai, but he's just trying to get through everybody. He's now up to position 9. And so Aurelian Bonnet there. So quite a few battles here, Jacob, going in through the closing stages. There's only 2 laps to go, and we still don't really know who's even going to be on the podium.
Yeah, for sure. It's exciting for, I mean, we look at Matthew Daniels, the 3-car again. It seems like iRacing can pull away, but it's just, I mean, I don't think it's enough time for Matthew Daniels to close in. Well, maybe it's commentator's curse here, but I don't see it.
Yeah, I hopefully not. Mayor Reddy, we do curse everybody to death. As Mayor Reddy there holding on as Felipe Labour, Frank Winter, and Brian Doyle also hold on as this is the second lap to go, second to last lap. But these times are just so quick as we are just zooming back and forth. There's Aurelian Bonnet now possibly losing a position over the braking onto the outside of turn 1, but he's countering right back as they get back underway there. That's Johan Hallberg, that blue car just straight ahead. He must be enjoying this sight as Scott once again tries to go on the inside. A NASCAR bend not going to work here as they all enter the left hook. This is the very tight left-hander, drops out Karthik Pai. He has to woe up on the brakes there, and Aurelian Bonnet able to take advantage of that through the rest of the snake to come through and out, still on top there, but Scott Boham, I don't know if he's getting impatient or whatever, but he is definitely just working on Aurelian Bonnet's car, and boy, that is just quite a sight to see as these Skip Barber cars do make it through this VIR North course. And Ricardo Fraria, who's actually the YouTube channel, has just kind of started popping up as this is the last lap. Mako Nasi starting his final lap here in the World Cup S2, the World Cup 2K, excuse me. But yep, Ricardo Faria is definitely taking that drop week, but definitely Miko Nasi, the guy in 3rd position in the championship points, will almost certainly take the win as Mayor Reddy in the 2nd position, Matthew Daniels in 3rd, Felipe Labour in 4th, Frank Winter in 5th, and Brian Dwell in 6th. And of course, we have no idea outside of Miko Nasi who's going to be finishing where, as these guys are just so close together. We'll have to see if there can't be, hopefully not any tight or any contact. We've been at a completely contact-free race. As we do have a crash in turn 1, we'll find out who it is right now as I'm looking through. I do see the smoke from it. It's Aurelian Bonnet's car, but yep, Aurelian Bonnet, Karthik Pai, and Scott Boham, they had an issue there, but right now, as just looking through everyone else, we'll definitely get a replay of that for sure, but it just looked to me like, yeah, as we're going through the last final corners here, just looked like Scott ended up clipping the rear end of that, as right now, Miko Nasi, though, coming away 24 laps of VIR's North Course. He will come home in 1st position, never under pressure, and his final lap will be a 1:36.8, fastest lap of the race, faster than his qualifying time, faster than his practice time. Miko Nasi absolutely dominating here at VIR North, a 1:36.8. 13 seconds is the gap as Mayor Reddy is able to hold off Matthew Daniels as they are now 14 seconds back. And then you go back to Felipe Labour. Will keep it over Frank Winter and over Brian Doyle as Alexandria Osadic will come across the line there in 7th position with Johan Hallberg finishing in 8th position. Now we've had this issue, this crash with Aurelian Bonnet, Scott Boham, and Karthik Pai. Karthik Pai actually had to bring it to the pits under tow, as Aurelian Bonnet will continue to keep his position, though they had an accident. They did have that accident there. It looks like they will not lose that many positions. As we'll look at a replay of that now as the rest of the field closes up through the track right now. But all right, let's just take a look at this right here. Aurelian Bonet, Scott Boham, and Karthik Pai all entering this this turn here under this final lap here, and it just looks like Scott Boham just got a little too hard on the brakes, lost it, and clipped right into the back of Aurelian Bonet, which pushed the car of Karthik Pai out and into the air, doing quite some crippling suspension damage. So they lost a couple positions between Aurelian Bonet and Scott Boham, but ultimately the car of Karthik Pai was the one to pay the price for both of them. So Scott Boham, no apologizing. That's the only contact between all of the cars, as we will have people come into for the commentary booth, but we'll go to a quick little commercial here on RaceSpotTV, get everything all set, get everything all ready to go for some post-race interviews. You're watching the Skip Barber 2K World Cup race here on RaceSpotTV.
Truex in the outside, contact made. 56 slides in at a 4. Who's going to be at the stripe? Dead even, give it to Ryan Truex. Truex is your winner over Tandy.
Welcome back to Virginia International Raceway here on the North Course, as we have just finished up the Skip Barber 2K World Cup race, round number 5, as Miko Nasi has come away in first position. So we'll go look through the results right now before going into some post-race interviews. Miko Nasi with a 14-second gap over Mayor Reddy, with Matthew Daniels finishing out the podium in third. Felipe Labert, after a slow pit stop, coming home in fourth position with Frank Winter in fifth. Brian Dowell finished in sixth, and Alexander Josadovich coming home in seventh with Johan Hallberg in eighth. Dustin Kissinger in ninth. Neil Kemp in 10th. Aurelian Bonet, after an issue with Scott Boham, and Karthik Pai coming home in 11th position with Scott Boham in 12th. David Stefanofi is finishing in 13th with Robert Long in 14th. Mike McCormick in 15 with Edward Cavalier in 16th. Finishing out, it is going to be Rob Adams, Joey Miller. Karthik Pai, having that issue, was up all the way up in the 10th positions, fighting in the very end, finishing in 19th. Paul Malakis, after having an incident, also finishing in 20th with Hagachi Kurandram and Seinsworth finishing out in the final two positions. So now we are here through the results. We will talk to the winner himself, Miko Nasi. Miko, you might almost say that you had the perfect race here. You came away, your practice, your race pace was faster than your qualifying pace, which was faster than your practice pace. So just take me through this week practicing here at VIR North Course, because you seem to own this place.
Yeah, thanks. It was a good race. I'm incredibly tired. I've been up for about 23 hours, so I was, just happy to actually keep it on the track. The SOF race before this, I threw it out because I was just not paying attention. So I just decided to, push all race so I could stay awake properly. And
Well, that's I guess that's the way to do it. Stay up for 23 hours and you can go faster than everybody. Well, Miko, I mean, it's just had a great race like that. I mean, a 14-second gap, and Skip Barber's nothing to shake a stick at. You're now, because Ricardo Faria has taken one of his drop weeks, you're now going to be in second place in the championship points. But we're in round 5. Everything seems to be going fairly well right now.
yeah, I'm not sure. I'm probably going to miss another round or two at some point, but hopefully I can still be in with a chance for the championship.
All right, well, thank you, Miko, for stopping by here in the commentary booth for the interview, of course. We always appreciate it. But anybody you'd like to thank out there?
Yeah, thanks. And thanks to Buto and Philippe and the guys in the commentary booth as well.
Oh,
and
of
congrats
course.
to the other guys on the podium.
Now, we do have a couple of other drivers. Felipe Labert is with us here. He came home in 4th position after qualifying in 2nd. Everything seemed to be going fairly well up until that pit stop, Felipe. Why don't you just take me through that?
Very simple. I pressed the wrong button and I kept pressing the wrong button and nothing happened. So I was throwing stuff around and I finally got going. So I lost like 7 seconds in the pit stop.
Yes, but you were able to recover, though. You ended up after a very tight battle with Frank Winter only finishing 0.4 of a second ahead of him. I mean, you're able to come home in 4th, which might be a great position to somebody else, but for the championship's leader, that it almost seems like a salvaged. But 4th position, though, not too bad. Other than that pit stop, Virginia International Raceway, the North Course, don't normally see it. What do you think of it?
Well, it's a very difficult track. I learned it this week, so I don't know all the tricks to become faster. But well, finishing 4th was actually a good thing because I had a great overtake with Frank Winter. I think it's almost impossible to overtake around the outside there, and I pulled it off. It was very difficult, but that was fun.
It was a great show for us, though, for sure. But Felipe, you ended up coming home in 4th. Anybody you'd like to thank before we head off to the next race, wherever that may be?
Well, of course, all the drivers for all the clean racing we've seen this season, and you guys for broadcasting, of course.
Oh, of course, and we're always happy to do it. It's going to be Road America, by the way, we're heading to. I just found out. So Aurelian Bonnet, though, from TNT Racing, started off having a good race. A couple of mistakes, though, early on, kind of pooching turn number 17A, going off track there. But after recovering that, ended up finishing in 11th position after some contact. Aurelian, it seemed like you were right in the middle of the fray all race long.
Yeah, talk about racing in the mid-pack and having a tussle. I had a really roller coaster type race. I started fairly well. I was hoping to keep up with P7 Brian Dole, who had a really good pace. Got into a great tussle with Paul Malokas the first couple laps, but that made us drop, and that really split the race, I think, in 2 packs. And then I had a misshift coming up the last turn, went into the grass. I dropped back to P15, and I'm just very lucky that a good pit strategy put me back inside of the top 10. Unfortunately, last lap was a little difficult.
Yes, the last lap was a little difficult there. Scott Boham getting on the brakes a little later than he would have liked. Of course, Scott apologizing. But ultimately, though, you came home in 11th position, which is definitely nothing to shake a stick at. You're going to be heading over to Road America, a little bit more comfortable than sort of a foreign course to everyone, like the North Course at Virginia International.
Yeah, probably. I think everybody will be a little bit more in their comfort zone. I learned this track this week, and I was expecting not to like it, and actually I loved it. This is probably my favorite track out of the season so far.
Well, thank you very much for stopping in with us. Anybody you'd like to thank, Aurelian?
Sure, the guys at TNT Racing, GTR Simulator, and Allenberg Racing School. Allenberg is actually a program where you can drive a Formula 1 Benetton from the 90s on their website. You should really go to tntracing.com and check it out.
Certainly will, but all right, so thank you, Miko Nasi, Felipe Labor, and Aurelian Bonnet for coming in and giving us some post-race interviews. So next week, as we did just say, the Skip Barber 2K World Cup racing will be at Road America. You're going to see it here live on RaceSpotTV. I'm Cam Walsh, he's Jacob Young, and Hugo Louise, of course, on the cameras. Will Vincent will probably be back, but if not, you'll get stuck with the Americans once again. But until that time, we will see you guys later. Have a good one.